let's get down to it then. I'm really excited today to share 7 top tips with you for your business development whilst working from home. And I'm not going to talk a huge amount at this stage about the challenges of working at home. We've been doing it for nigh on a year now. And I think, we're getting into our groove, we're getting into a routine, but I will be looking at how this impacts your business development when working from home. And of course, I'll be talking about some of the pressures and challenges and how you can mitigate that. But, what I'd like you to do, first of all, is just imagine you're working for a company without anyone dedicated to growing and developing the business, or if you're working on your own, that you are so busy running the business that you do not have time to focus on business development. And it's so critical. So often we've got feast or famine, and it's almost like we're constantly in firefighting mode when we're trying to deal with keeping a consistent stream of new business coming into the business that we can take from the pipeline, convert, and get some steady sales coming in that obviously grow, which is why we're all here today, to help you to grow both your UK, but particularly your international sales. And I think working from home, it's this aspect of having nobody to challenge you or tell you about new business opportunities, changes in the market, what your competition's up to, or how you can work to attract your target audience more effectively. It's in the conversations that we have in the office, you're sparring and bouncing ideas off people and getting thoughts, and that really supports the creative process. So, without that dedicated resource or that dedicated time to focus on business development, particularly when you're working from home, it makes it pretty hard to succeed. And then suddenly we might be confronted with a situation where, crikey, come end of April or end of May or June, or however far forward you forecast and schedule, there's a dip and I need to focus on that. Wow, all hands to the deck. And then, you're focusing on your business development. And, the marketing needs to support the business development. The business development is there to qualify the leads, to make sure you're getting the right kind of people through. And then it goes into sales. And obviously you want sales to get the best quality leads in, so they've got the best chance of conversion. So this is why companies establish business development practices, and they will either hire employees to do their business development for them, or they will focus on the really essential tasks that will help them to get to grips with their business development. So there are lots of challenges that we are faced with when it comes to business development. And what I would like to invite you to do now is just go into the Q&A box, start talking to me, because I am here, really enthused about being here with you this morning, but it just feels a bit strange, in a room on your own talking to your laptop. So do talk to me. What are your biggest business development challenges working from home? What is taxing you at the moment more than anything else? Do share some of your thoughts with me, and I'm going to have a quick drink while you are typing your responses in. So this is always the really interesting part, and hopefully what we can share with you today will really get your creative juices flowing and get that thought process moving, so that you get inspired and you have some great ideas. Michelle, good morning. Thank you. Finding the time to have a consistent approach. Gosh, I share that one with you too. It is really tough when you're busy to find time to dedicate to business development, but I think it's such an essential thing. If your marketing and business development isn't happening, then you're going to feel that pinch down the line. And do your best to take a couple of hours or a half a day a week I tend to do things on a Friday afternoon when it's a little bit quieter, where you can be a bit more creative. Put it in your calendar and do your utmost to really try and stick to that. So a good point, and I'm sure everybody on the call this morning is feeling that, Michelle. So does anyone else have any thoughts? What is taxing you the most when it comes to your business development? I know some people say to me that, apart from struggling to fit it in, that actually they're not really quite sure where to start first. It all seems so complex and so overwhelming. So it can be really good to just get down and pull together perhaps a plan that you can work towards. And we will be talking about that this morning too. So what I'd like to share with you today are my 7 top tips for business development from home. And really interesting, Michelle, that your comment was about time. The first tip is dedicate time and resource to ongoing business development. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about, how you do that and what that entails and what might make that easier for you. Get creative with ideas for business development. And I've got quite a few ideas to share with you this morning, which I hope will be really helpful and spark some thinking and inspiration. Refine your business development processes and create a plan. And this is so fundamental. Fail to plan, plan to fail. And actually it can be simple. I love the concept of a 1-page plan, a dashboard that you can pick up regularly and look at, but get a plan down there, keep it simple, but have a really focused plan that keeps you on track. The next one is really one for you, especially for you, to keep you in the groove, is just keep calm and choose you first. What are all of the things that you can do to look after yourself and keep yourself in a great space so that you can perform at peak and feel good and enjoy it? Having fun with your business development is a key part of this. So a really important aspect to focus on. The next tip is about improving outreach and engagement, especially when we're working from home. Just being more mindful of the need to communicate with your colleagues, with customers, with partners, with distributors and agents, and looking at the whole spectrum of customers, some that you may not have worked with for a long time, and really just improving that communication. I think during COVID and lockdown and with all the Brexit issues, etc., that aspect of communication has become more and more important. We also need to manage remote workers well and really understand what challenges they are faced with and how we can support the people that we are responsible for managing, or actually just support our co-workers in feeling their best and doing a great job. And a great part of that is about listening and questioning and really being compassionate and appreciative of everybody's situation. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that, and also talking about processes that you can put in place to support that. And then finally, about improving efficiency. And I will be sharing some tools and techs with you on how to approach that can really help make life easier and more efficient. So 7 top tips for business development from home. So I'd like, first of all, to delve into this aspect of business development and what exactly is it? And it is the process of implementing strategies and opportunities to promote growth and to boost revenue. It involves pursuing opportunities to help your business grow, and we're focusing on UK and international. So identifying new prospects, converting more leads into customers. And, business development is closely tied to sales, and often the business development teams are actually incorporated within the sales team, but business development is not sales. And I'd just like to mention what is different between business development and sales. So business development is a process that will help your company establish and maintain relationships with prospects, learn about buyer personas, increase brand awareness, and seek new opportunities to promote growth. In contrast, the sales team will receive qualified leads through from the business development team, and their job is to convert those leads into customers. So business development work, I guess you could say, really simplifies the work of the sales team. It supports them, and it should be feeding them leads that are qualified, and therefore they have the best chance of converting those into sales. So let's take a closer look at what business development roles and responsibilities actually are, and what that business development function actually necessitates. So I'm going to delve into this in the dedicating time and resource to the ongoing business development. And in order to do that, we really need to understand that role and get to grips with it. So the role of business development is really to seek out and establish new strategies, tactics, targets, employees and prospects for your business. And the goal of that business development function is to find ways to grow and provide long-term value for the business in a nutshell. So, those responsibilities really focus people on particular tasks and activities that they need to perform. And the first one is all about qualifying leads. I'm just going to pause there. Heloisa has just popped in a question for me here. I'm going to take a look. So Heloisa's written, apart from more technical issues, not having anyone to naturally talk to about issues I have, as no one can meet up and many people have issues to schedule a meeting via video too. Do I have any insight into why people are so reluctant to have video meetings and how to overcome this issue with friends and acquaintances? I mean, it is a really interesting one, isn't it? And do you know, Heloisa, when I first started out at the beginning of my career, there wasn't any video, and it started to be introduced, and it's so great, but people have always, I think, been very reluctant. And I think it's in a sense just the unknown, and having to get to grips. That change process is quite painful sometimes, having to get to grips with doing things in a different way. I must say, the willingness and readiness of people to actually embrace video calls now is significantly higher than it was, say, 2 years ago, because people have had to do that. And I think, trying to get people to do that more with you, talk to them, be compassionate, give them support. I mean, I am coaching a lady at the moment. She's had a real struggle just working out how to get Zoom, how to use it, how to make the tech work. She's pretty nervous. So her son's been giving her some support. They've done some little dummy runs. And I've just been really patient. The first time it didn't work out, we did the session on the phone. I gave her gentle words of encouragement, and finally it's worked out. So I think bringing a little bit of compassion and understanding and helping as best you can. She's going off now, actually, with the support of some of our wonderful partners, to do some training to build her confidence, because sometimes it really is a confidence issue. So that may be a good point for you. So coming back to this aspect of qualifying leads, the business development role is about qualifying leads and pinpointing ideal prospects to determine who they will sell to. So typically you're going to be getting leads through telephone calls, email, web forms, social media, traffic to the website, etc. And the key to qualifying the leads is to consider their needs, and then determine whether or not your product or services can actually be a good fit as a solution to those people. So really delving into that, and this is all about asking questions, talking to people, providing great content on your website so that you can really give enough information that people can see if it's a good fit. But if you are, selling products or services and you're having direct contact with customers, those conversations can really help you to qualify whether that is the right fit for your company. And this is something that I talked about a lot in the previous webinar, international sales and managing stress. We talked about that sales pipeline and that whole process from the twinkle in the eye to the sales aftercare of actually making sure that you are qualifying leads. And I will mention something about that later on in this webinar. So the next aspect to taking, I beg your pardon. Yes, here it is. I thought it was later down the line, sorry. I have actually put a slide in here from the International Sales webinar, which is, all buyers go through a journey, and it's understanding where they are in that journey, and it's asking the right questions and presenting solutions to them when they're ready, not coming in too quickly with that solution, really qualifying what their needs are and what whether there's a good fit with your offer. People tend to waste a lot of time on non-leads, so that qualification actually saves time, even though initially it will take a little bit of time to do that, and it also boosts confidence. Ask questions, it helps understand where they're coming from and how you can best service that client. And a process will avoid you coming across as being too pushy. So just asking questions about how people want to be followed up and whether this is working for them can be a really good thing. But this aspect of wasting time on non-leads, it is much better to say, you know what, I think this may not be right for you. How about you take a look at XYZ, which may be a better fit, and walking away from that piece of business rather than spending time and ultimately that not converting. So something really to think about. So the next aspect to think about in that business development role is identifying and communicating with prospects. And this is so important. So by qualifying leads and searching for people who fit your customer personas, you will identify the ideal prospects. And I can't stress enough how important those customer personas are. And I have talked about that a lot, and I will mention some new facets to customer profiling in this session. It's really about communicating with them and identifying their needs and their pain points. So that way the business development individual can determine whether or not the prospect will really benefit from your product or service. And it's important because this increases the potential of customer loyalty and customer retention from a successful sale. So once the business development role has qualified and identified the ideal prospect and qualified them, those prospects can then be passed on to the sales function. If that's you and you are doing all of this work yourself and you don't have a team, then just be mindful of the different steps in that process, even though it is you doing all of that work. So proactively seeking out new business opportunities is also a key part of the business development function. So whether that's in terms of product line, markets, prospects, or brand awareness, it's an important part of your business's success, and it's an important part of the business development function. So the business development role will find new business opportunities through networking, through research online, looking at the competition and talking to prospects and current customers. They are typically the key ways to do that. So if a new business opportunity is identified, the business development role should really schedule marketing assessments and discovery meetings with the sales reps and the team, just to assess whether or not there's a potential for a deal. And again, if you're doing that function yourself, just be mindful that once you have that opportunity in and you've done your assessments and looked at it, then have some critical thoughts and analysis about whether this is worth pursuing and whether it will actually come to fruition. Really important point here, stay completely up to date on the competition and new market trends. So really important to take, particularly today, to stay up to date with what your competitors are doing, because so much will have changed. What are their strategies? Take a look at their marketing. What products are they bringing to market? Have they had to pivot? Are they doing different things? And, have they changed their target audience, or is it the same one? As well as any new market and industry trends, which you can keep on top of by doing your research online, following influencers and leaders in LinkedIn and making sure that you're engaging with their content and staying in touch with business support organizations, trade associations, and of course doing networking within your own professional networks. A really great way is to get into groups that are relevant and quite vibrant on LinkedIn and staying ahead of the news and trends there. So this will allow you to really more effectively identify ideal prospects. It also helps your business to prepare for any shifts in the market that may be coming, so that you're able to do that canary in the coal mine thing and spot those trends coming that may lead to the need for a new approach to qualifying leads and attracting your target audience. We have this aspect of reporting. If you are a slightly larger organization and you have different functions, the business development people will report to the sales people or the sales manager or the heads or directors. So, it's important that you communicate well from that business development perspective, and get that reporting. Again, I would recommend, single page dashboard, a simple standard report that's easy to take in and digest. So you'll be wanting to report up and discuss your lead qualification strategies. Are they working? What are you doing? Is there anything different that you could be doing? And how you are getting in touch with prospects, and passing those on to the sales reps so they can pick them up and nurture them into customers, into conversions. So, you'll be reporting on business opportunities, you'll be reporting on market trends and relaying this information and collaborating with the sales reps and managers to, develop and or update appropriate strategies for your business and audience is critical to your success as an organization. And it really is supportive to the sales team. So have a chat with them, make sure you've got that regular dialogue, you're understanding what their needs are, and you are able as a business development individual to really support that as best you can. And then finally, but so important, is this aspect of promoting satisfaction and loyalty with the customer, which is a big part of the business development role. So, a business development person's first interaction with a prospect might be the first one that they've ever had with your business. So how is that interaction working? How are you introducing them to the business? Creating a great first impression of your business, your communications, and how you take care of that customer is really, really important. So right off the bat, it's crucial to promote interest early on and to take really good care of them and give them a great customer experience. So whether a business development person is working to qualify the lead, learn more about the prospect and their needs, or find the right sales rep to work on a deal with them, their interactions with all of your prospects really matter. So tailor all the communication totally to the needs of the prospect. That again will come from your customer profiling. Customizing all the content sent their way shows them that they are being really listened to, that you are putting them front of mind. They are the most important person in the room to you, and they're being taken good care of. And these actions are so professional, but they leave a strong and lasting impression. I would just invite you to have a think about an experience that you have had with a company that has really left you thinking, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I work with a company in Yorkshire. They help me with some of my financial perspectives. I don't mind saying who they are, True Financial Design. She's won Customer Service Excellence Awards, absolutely superb organization. She sends little gifts, she sends postcards, she's very present. No matter how flaky I can be by way of getting back, she's always patient. That communication is always superb and just makes you feel that you're in a safe and caring pair of hands, which is such a great message to get across. So once a business development person, has done all of that work, it's just sharing that across the team, making sure everybody appreciates how that works. So in addition to understanding how that business development role can help you grow, there is this aspect of, well, how can I develop ideas that might come from their feedback and these conversations and this interaction that can actually help you find new and more powerful ways to engage with prospects and identify new business opportunities. So as part of this, I'd just like to go on to top tip number 2, which is this aspect of getting creative with ideas for your business development. So I think the first aspect is this aspect of innovating the way that you network. Developing business development ideas and tactics that you can implement to positively impact your companies at the forefront of all of this. But indeed, these ideas can help you identify ideal prospects, network more effectively, improve brand awareness, and uncover new opportunities. So, it's no secret that cold calls are less effective than they may have been in the past. Many people are just not receptive to them. It's a big turn-off. So innovating the way that you network can establish strong relationships with your prospects, really showing that you care about them. You can do this by meeting them in person. Hopefully that will be possible in a month or two at conferences, trade shows, or events. I've been talking to some of you that are doing great work by way of actually attending virtual events and investing a lot of time and effort into that and getting great results. I think the key with virtual events is really paying more attention to that connection and that communication with the individuals and making the effort. I think in part you get back what you invest into the process. Browse your online networks, including LinkedIn and other social sites. And I've been doing a lot of LinkedIn sessions with you, one-on-one, and showing you the richness for that business development function in LinkedIn profiles and how you can mine that to good effect. Reach out as well to people who sign up for your email subscriptions or complete forms on your site and wow them with how good your communications is and how much you care about them. I think how good your communications is a really key part of this. If you have any ideas on innovating the way you network, please do drop them into the Q&A, or indeed about anything else here. It would be really lovely to get some feedback from you. The next aspect is offering consultations and assessments for prospects, or just an opportunity to have a conversation with you. So talking about the ways your product or service applies to their needs, will help prospects to decide whether or not they are interested in taking it further and whether or not they will actually convert. So in contrast, consultations and assessments may also bring to light the ways a prospect is not an ideal fit for your product, which is equally as valuable as qualifying the ones that are, and prevents you from wasting time nurturing them or having to deal with an unsatisfied customer down the road. So, offering those consultations, that opportunity for a discussion, however you might do that, just really having that opportunity to talk to them and share with them, however you go about doing that, can be really, really helpful. Providing demos or consultations for prospects and leads can also be really powerful. So providing them with sales demos so that they can see how your product or service works in action, maybe doing some taster sessions, maybe doing some webinars. It could be that you do a free 15, 20-minute webinar session or some group sessions to talk to people. In some cases, you might want to bring some brand champions along who can also share their experiences with people. There's all sorts of different things that you can do there, but I think reaching out and having those actual interactions with your customers really make a big difference. Ensure that the demos are customized to show a prospect or lead how your product or service can solve and fulfill their challenges and needs. And you can share these demos in person, over email, on your website, or via video chat. So there are many ways to actually maximize this collateral once you've actually produced it. Do focus on this aspect of nurturing your prospects, whether it's by phone, email, meeting, or some other form of communication. The point of nurturing your prospects is to provide the information that they really need about your product or service, so that your prospects can decide whether or not they want to pursue the conversation and potentially entertain making a purchase. So the other thing about nurturing your leads is that it will also help you to really tailor your content regarding the brand or the product or sale, so that the people can better understand whether this is a good fit and how that might best serve them and how that is going to solve their specific pain points or their desires. So you'll also be able to show your support for the prospect and ensure that they feel heard and understood by your company. And providing them with several different types of content can also support that journey, because some people will be audio, some will be visual, some will be kinesthetic. So thinking about the different kinds of ways that you can serve up that content will stand you in good stead as well. So provide them with things like blogs, videos, social media posts, podcasts. I was talking to a lady yesterday, she may well be on the call, who's doing some amazing podcasts. And how best to present those on her website and on LinkedIn and such like, with some really valuable stuff in there. So, think about the different things that you can do that are actually great fun, but you want to see some of the results coming from that. And it's about learning about you, about your brand and what you have to offer. And at the very least, you're creating brand champions, even if they don't progress to an actual sale. It's best to meet your prospects where they actually are and provide the content that they prefer to read or watch. Ensure all of the content is downloadable and that it is shareable, that it's easy to access, so that prospects can also share it with team members, friends, other connections, etc., to show them why your solution is the best option. And then finally, communicate with marketing. Business development lives in the sales department, but the marketing function is really important to feed that business development opportunity. It doesn't mean internal business development work only involves other members of the sales team. However, it's broader than that. So host regular meetings with team members or your outsourced support, or sit and reflect and have a chat with like-minded people so you can really hone and craft your own thinking. Host regular meetings and maintain open lines of communication with the marketing department that impact on your ability to succeed. So marketing, product development, with the managers or owners, whoever that may be, and think about the way that marketing creates contents and campaigns for your target audience about your product and services to resolve their challenges. And because you're sharing your feedback with them, the marketing function will be able to refine that marketing and make it more pertinent, more relevant, and more topical for your target clients. So why wouldn't you want to talk to them about the blogs, the campaigns, the social media posts, the things they're talking about in the website for the prospects and people that you are essentially selling to? So, sharing any content the marketing team creates directly with prospects to help them convert, as well as inform the marketing team of any content that is missing for those prospects, is an important part of that function. So just a quick breathing space. That was quite a lot to take in terms of some of those ideas and such like. If you have any ideas about creative ideas for business development, then please do share them. I have a few myself that I jotted down. If I can put my hands on them here quickly. Just having a quick look through. So anybody got any thoughts or tips in terms of those creative ideas around business development, or indeed have you got any questions for me on what we have run through so far? Please do drop any thoughts and tips into the question and answer box if you have any. Everyone's quiet. I hope you're very happy. So I'm going to progress now to the next tip number 3, which is about your processes and about your plan. So, forgive me just a second. Yeah. That is great. I've just found my sheet here actually as well with the ideas on business development. So Nicole says we use a lot of product reviews and testimonials and share them on social media. And that's great, Nicole. You've probably heard me saying already on these sessions that testimonials and reviews can increase a customer's confidence to buy by between 64 and 93%. So they are so incredibly important. And I think having a process in place to gather those, but also having a process for sharing those at the relevant point in that sales journey can be really helpful. So some of the business development ideas here that we've had, particularly working from home at the moment, if you're one of these people who has a bit more time on their hand, review all your service offerings. Are you missing something? Is there something to look at there? Update your website copy and particularly your biographies. People do business with people that they trust. Do you have anything like capability statements? Doing some content planning and content development work can be really key, giving advice that helps people in these extraordinary times, just doing some brainstorming, spending some more time on your customer profiling and really going out and talking to them. So hosting online seminars, webinars, podcasts, or virtual workshop training to offer help and value is feedback that we've had previously. Start hosting a LinkedIn group or a Facebook group and really using that to talk to and engage with your customers. We've had people suggesting doing new ebooks or some other signature piece of content to give away on your website in exchange for an email address. So great tool there for data capture. I was talking to someone yesterday, I think you may be on the call, about compiling a speaker biography to assist you in getting public speaking opportunities, but at the very least to include that bio with a picture on the end of your LinkedIn articles, so that, you know, it looks more professional. People can actually see you, get to meet you, which makes you more accessible. You might want to take the time as part of that business development function to create a new slide deck for, you know, for the website, for your LinkedIn profile, or as a conference speaking opportunity for appointments, as an introduction to the business. And it's a great time also to take the time to do some video shots that you've been promising yourself to do for a long time, upload them to YouTube or Vimeo channels. And again, we'll come on to targeting a list of potential clients. I've got a few more here from people. Create a new client satisfaction survey. Wow, wasn't that a great time to do that? And that could really help to inform your customer profiling work and potentially give you some prospects that you would be able to go out and interview, which is one of the recommendations I've got down the line. And of course, take a client review process of past projects with clients, which can open the door to uncovering and exploring new opportunities. So these are sort of tips that I've gathered in the past, which hopefully you will find are quite helpful. So, you know, the business development process is this combination of steps that your business takes to grow effectively and boost revenue, improve relationships with leads, and more. So these steps are what your business development people or you will be doing every day. That consistency is so important to maintain that pipeline. And it includes everything to delighting the customers along each part of that buying journey, which again, we talked about in the sales webinar. So by working through your business development process, your team will have a strong understanding of your company goals, your sales targets, the current business situation, and who the target audience are and how they go about that process of converting. So by compiling all of these elements of business development and sharing across the team, you create an actionable business development plan that encourages and promotes success and growth, and essentially means that the whole team is singing from the same hymn sheet, whoever they may be. And reviewing the different steps in that plan is what I'd like to do with you next, because that plan is essentially a strategy your team can refer to, that you can talk about eloquently when you're talking to people about the business, when you're briefing web developers or suppliers. It's really something that helps you set out where you've been, where you are currently, and what your aspirations and the planned aims and objectives are for the future. So the purpose of the plan is to set goals and targets. So you only get what you measure. That's a great thing to do. It allows your business development people to grow the business, close more deals, and identify prospects, align members of the sales team, and just keep that whole thing coordinated and working well together, and ultimately convert more leads. So one of the first things that I would invite you to do, and it's definitely not one of the easiest, but it is absolutely the most valuable that you will do, is craft an elevator pitch, you know, a piece of content that is top level about you, the business, the offer, and the benefits to the customer. An elevator pitch is something that you can deliver, let's say going in an elevator in the USA from the ground floor up to the 30th or the 60th floor, however much time you give yourself to do that. Typically, it's quite short. It should explain your company's mission. It should explain the product or service and how that can solve the needs of the target audience. It should also be really heartfelt, grab the attention and the interest of the people that you're talking to and get them excited to learn more about what you do. That elevator pitch, that piece of content should be keyword rich so that it supports all of your SEO, and it should be shared across the team, and it should inform every piece of content writing that you do. Once you have that in place, everything else becomes so much easier. And you may tailor those for different functions. So, you know, it's just a really super thing to do to make sure everybody's on board, they understand it, they have it, and they can access it whenever needed. The next aspect, which is pretty obvious and fairly straightforward, is to set SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound are the good things to focus on. So just getting really specific about it. So, you know, if one of your goals is to increase the number of identified leads this quarter by 5%, make the goal specific by determining the type of prospects that you'll focus on, how you're going to identify them, how you're going to measure your success. And then by measuring the number of prospects, you then go on to talk with a sales rep and learn more about a product or service. The way you're going to approach this is to determine the goal that it's attainable due to the fact that you increased the number of qualified leads last month or last quarter by XYZ. So, you know, if it was 3%, then 5% is not that much of a big leap. So it should be stretching, but it should definitely be attainable. And your goal is realistic, because you know that it's going to help your business to grow. You know that you've got the resources in place to do that. You've got the processes, and it pushes you to make a bigger impact on the team by contributing to the sales team's ability to actually close the deal more effectively. And it's timely because you've actually said, well, this is the goal for the quarter. So you get the idea. I'm sure you know about all of this as well, but just by way of a reminder. The next thing I would strongly recommend that you do as part of your business development plan is to do a SWOT analysis on specific things. So have a clear goal in mind. So, you know, that SWOT analysis, if it's about how to best handle outreach with prospects, then take that and do a SWOT analysis on that. This is not like a business planning SWOT analysis. This is doing a SWOT analysis on particular aspects. So looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, you know, a good place to start with these is talking to business development people, if you have them, doing a brainstorm yourself, sales reps, sales managers, current customers, potentially suppliers, about what works best for them. Think about your strengths. What do you do particularly well? What do you excel at? And be honest and look at feedback, get feedback from people, because sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees. So make sure you dedicate a little bit of time to doing this and doing it well. You know, think about your weaknesses. Are your products limited offerings, requiring some leads to consider your competition's product in addition to yours? You know, what are the different kinds of things there that you might consider weaknesses that you want to look at in a little bit more depth? It could be, is the demand for your product going faster than you can actually meet in terms of production capacity, for example, is something common that comes up. Are you able to establish the right support services if suddenly demand increases? These are all things that you can think about. In terms of opportunities, think about where you're going as a business and what you know you can accomplish. So you may well have partnered with another company. They might be helping you to boost your brand awareness. You may have a distributor or an agent in country. And how can you work together to attract a much broader base of leads and customers, for example? So that could be an opportunity. Threats may well be, again, thinking about your current competition, who's producing a product that's very like yours and is attracting similar target audience. They may be undercutting you in terms of price. So who could become your competition in the future is also something worth thinking about. Is there a market gap that is new or established that could identify the need, the need for you to think about selling into that as well? So quite a lot of different things here for you to think about. So the SWOT is there to help you actually identify the ways that your company can create opportunities to grow and expand, but it also helps you to establish new processes to address any weaknesses or threats. So a really, really good exercise to do, which ultimately is going to support that process of efficiently converting prospects into customers and potentially shortening that sales cycle. So the next element is defining how you measure success. And this is a key part. Some of the common business development KPIs that might help you to analyze your efforts is company growth, changes in revenue, lead conversion rate. You might want to drill down and look at how many leads you're generating per month or per quarter, prospect and customer satisfaction, pipeline value, reach. So there's lots and lots of different things there that you can think about in terms of how you will measure your success, and do that on a consistent, regular basis. The next element, if you can, is to set a budget. So depending on the type of business development goals that you set for the team, or for yourself indeed, you may want to set a budget. If you haven't done that before, then give it your best guess. You will refine that as you are moving down the line, and just consider your resources, the cost of any previous business development work that you've done or developed, and any other important operational line items that you might need to think about. Who's going to resource this? Do you need to think about people who's involved? What tools do they need? So all that kind of thing. And if you can, if you are in a bigger business, just collaborate with the greater team to determine the amount you're willing to and need to spend on this, and get the process started in the company. If you're on your own in the business, then you may want to take this to talk with your mentor or coach, or just talk it over with other like-minded businesses to get that independent, impartial input. Always keep your target audience in mind. So whatever it is that you're working towards, keep them in mind, assess the need, and understand exactly how your business can meet their pain points. This audience is the group that's most likely to buy your product or service, so make sure that your plan really addresses them and their needs so your team can convert more and grow your business. And then finally, and we will delve into this a bit further down the line, choose the right outreach strategy for you. The key aspect of any business development plan is finding new prospects and potential customers. So you'll need to decide how to perform this outreach and connect with these potential customers. So you could look at networks, you can use referrals, you could upsell and cross-sell to existing clients. You can look at sponsorship and advertisement, which is an option as well. And, review any expectations related to outreach, so that, you're talking to your own team, you are talking to the people in the business to get ideas and get some feedback. And when you've completed all of that, well done, job done. You will have your business development plan to support your activities in future. And that will, I am sure, stand you in very, very good stead. Keep it short, keep it lean and mean, make it effective so that it's something that you are picking up on a regular basis and referring to. So Before we move on to tip 4, do we have any other questions from you on the business development plan? I'll take a quick slurp of tea. Okay, so tip number 4, this is the really nice one. Keep calm and choose you first. Do you know, it's quite a short set of very heartfelt tips and recommendations for you as to how you can do that. And, you know, this aspect of keeping calm and choosing you first, why do I say that? Well, I say that because if you choose you first, if you look after you, you are in the best shape and in the best place and situation and mindset to support and help all of the other people around you. Be that the team, be it people at work, be it partners or the people that you're working with, be it your customers, and at home, the kids, the family, your friends, your loved ones. You know, if you choose you first, it's a little bit like this aspect of, you know, in the aircraft, airplane, if there's a crisis, you know, they really encourage you to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can then look after the other people around you. So put your oxygen mask on, keep calm, choose you first, look after yourself, and everything else will become so much easier and better because of that. So these are my personal tips and recommendations for you based on a lot of experience. I am also a qualified coach and therapeutic coach as well. So I do a lot of coaching with individuals and teams. So these are things that we have realized work really well at present. Get out in nature, you know, get out of your head and get into your body and just connect and ground, breathe in the air, take in the marvel of nature, and that just helps to calm your whole system down. Do you know, I have loved aspects of lockdown actually, and one of them is being able to encourage clients to come out and have walking meetings with me, and how much I've loved actually being able to get out and walk on the beach or through the woods or even just through town because it's fairly quiet, and have walking meetings. I think if you are strategizing or brainstorming or, you know, talking about certain things, it's such a great environment to get out in the countryside or get to the beach and actually do your thinking and your brainstorming and talking through issues in that environment. It is so liberating and so supportive. Organize your space at home, and there's a lot of aspects to this. You know, make sure that you have the right setup that is comfortable for you. I know it's a bit boring, but also make sure that you are doing, you know, a workplace assessment, that you've got, you know, risers for laptops. You've got, you know, you've done visual display equipment assessments in terms of good health and safety practice. People have got the right chairs, and that the space is safe and supportive for you, that it's well organized. And I would also recommend trying to keep a clean desk policy. It's just as well you can't see mine this morning, but it's going to be the next thing that I do after this session. Everything goes in the drawer, and I've got my lists and prompts there online in terms of tasks and what I need to do next. So get well organized. It can be a huge comfort and just really make you feel more in control. Get a mentor or a coach, and I think this is a really important aspect. You may need more than one, particularly if you are someone who is working on their own in the business, or you just feel isolated because you're working from home. To have a mentor or a coach that you're able to talk to about things that you wouldn't otherwise normally discuss in a work environment can be really supportive, and having someone independent and impartial to talk to can also be a real help and a real comfort. So adopt a role mindset. This can be a bit of a challenge, but it does help get over quite a lot of hurdles. Results only working environment, and it's a really liberating aspect. You're not sort of running around trying to check, are people at the desk between this time and this time? Are they doing X, Y, Z at this point in time? You're focusing on the results. And I think that's such a great thing to consider, because, working from home, we've all got challenges, whether it's deliveries or caring responsibilities or kids or interruptions or crises or things that happen, where you can't always have that dedicated focus that you would potentially be able to have at work. So a results-only working environment can be extremely supportive, but of course you do have to make sure that you've got the KPIs and the performance targets and a clear focus on what actually needs to be delivered, and that those are SMART. So you can only do ROW if you have those in place. Adopting a flexible attitude towards this mix of work-life balance. And again, this goes hand in hand with tip number 5, where, you're not so hung up about, well, do you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to take a couple of hours because I need that space. It's been an intensive week. I've worked through 7 days non-stop. I'm going to take a bit of time out and just readdress that balance. There may be priorities and things that you have to do. So, if you're used to beating yourself up when you take a few hours out during the week, don't. Have that flexibility. This is the good thing about this point in time, that you can actually be more flexible and, work and life just find a more comfortable fit together. If you have been commuting to work, then this is a great opportunity for you to use that commute time for you, rather than just packing in more work into that space. Go out for a walk, do some exercise, sit down, do some meditation or mindfulness practice. Take the time to prepare healthy snacks for during the day and your meals in advance so that the day flows a bit better. Have a chat with your mentor, use it to touch base with family or friends. So commit that time, give yourself the gift of actually dedicating that time more to you. And if you do mindfulness and meditation practice, it can be really great for helping with stress and feelings of overwhelm and getting you into a good shape. If not, then maybe exercise is your thing, or cycling, or listening to music, but find something that works really well for you that can just help to ground you and bring you back to that, do you know what? Everything's okay and I'm okay as well, and I'm taking some space out, and then I'm coming back to my desk refreshed to crack on with the rest of the day. Now, the best thing that I ever bought myself, and it was after I tripped in the park, playing around with a puppy and tore both hamstrings at the same time. And that was, took me nigh on 2 years to completely get over that. But I certainly couldn't walk for about 6 weeks without crutches, and I couldn't sit, which was even more of an issue. So I bought a standing desk. I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'm standing to present. I'm actually in front of my desk, and you might hear the whirring of the motor there and see it going up and down. I can actually adjust it, and I can drop it down during the day. Usually in the afternoon, I'll sit for an hour or two and then I'll get back up, because I'm just tired, and it's nice to just have that break. So get a standing desk. If you're going to get one, invest in one with a motor. Obviously, make sure you get your visual display screen assessments and your desk set up so that it's at the right level. But actually, it's really great, and it helps with back problems and neck problems, and you can just do a bit of mobility. You can actually stand there and work and do a few exercises. I've even seen some people in videos who've actually got a little treadmill at the desk. I haven't quite gone to that length, but it really can be a great boon. And I've been in quite a few call centers where, you know, they've got this adage of smile and dial. And actually, for telephone calls and for meetings with clients, doing a meeting on my feet just helps me to bring more energy to the session and really be present for whoever it is, like yourselves this morning, whoever I'm presenting to or whoever I'm talking to. So get a standing desk with a motor. And the final one, special for you, is this aspect of have fun. Choose positivity. You know, we get to decide not necessarily what happens, but we do get to decide how we react to it. And if we choose to react in a positive way, it feels a heck of a lot better than if we choose to hurl ourselves into feeling negative about things, which ultimately is not going to support. Is it always easy? No, it isn't. But is it worth putting that consistent effort in and actually taking control of our mind and giving it direction as to how we want it to behave? Absolutely. So take your mind to the gym, start giving it some instructions about choosing positivity and actually having some fun and enjoying life. So the next top tip is around your, forgive me, I have got this one a little bit mixed up here. So the next one is improve outreach and engagement. And this is a really important top tip for you. And, you know, the core aspects of outreach and engagement is all about communication. And, you know, so important to all of the people that you are working with in terms of having regular communication with them and making them aware that you're there and you're there for them or they are there for you, having those discussions, not just about work, but about things that are non-work related, so that we have this feeling of cohesion, so that we are building rapport, we're building better relations with people, and that will just smooth the way for so much of the work aspects that we are busy with. In terms of current, past, dormant, and pipeline prospects and customers, actually picking up the phone and talking to them is absolutely crucial. As part of your customer profiling, we have talked about looking at all of these different types of customers and picking up communications and contact with them again. It is by far the easiest way to support your business development, and it is a great way when working from home to actually keep in touch with people, find out how they are, refresh their memory that you are there and you are available. And it also shows that you care. Just pick up the phone, talk to them. How are you doing? What's going on for you? This is what's happening with us. And just have those conversations. It is so incredibly powerful. You may want to contribute ideas, resources, and support to people. You know, what do you have to share to give some extra oomph to that conversation that you're having with them? Do you know what? We've created this, thought it may be really useful for you, or I've got some ideas for you, or we've now got this aspect of support that I think could be really helpful. You know, what can you create that would be really beneficial for these people? Build community and share generously. And, you know, I think that's such an important element of lockdown. It's something that we have all learned to really appreciate. And, you know, what we do value are the people that reach out, that show that they care, and that actually give and share generously. So think about how that might work for you in a work context. Engage with current, past, dormant pipeline prospects and customers on social media and fully engage with them. In terms of the LinkedIn webinars that we have done, we talk about how you really need to be getting into proper conversations for all of your activities on LinkedIn to have an impact, both in terms of the algorithms, but also to have an impact on your audience. So it's really critical that you are fully engaging with people, showing that you care, showing that you're active, and showing that you are still open for business and very willing and able to fulfill your customers' wants and needs. And, you know, don't forget your referrers. Maintain good relations with them, your introducers, your intermediaries, people that, you know, have been great for bringing business to you. And also do not forget to refer and connect other people, because that two-way relationship is an important and a very fruitful one. So some ideas there in terms of how you can improve communications. The other aspect that I like to encourage clients I'm working with to focus on is to take the time to do customer interviews. We talked earlier about doing a survey. You may use that survey to actually select people that you can start interviewing, and sit down, take 20 minutes, get their permission to record the conversation, have a selection of questions that you would like to ask them, and just go with the conversation. Because you've got the recording going and you can record it on Zoom or on an audio device, you can then go back over it. You get keywords, you get key phrases, you get testimonials, you can talk about their challenges and their aspirations. You can actually use it as a bit of a research project, but also as a refresh of the relationship with the customers. Very often, you know, additional work will come from that. You can also ask them whether they can suggest other people that you could talk to that may be interested in your product or service offer. So interview customers, take the time, refine your profiling, and use this to inform your business development process. And it's such generally a lovely, heartwarming process. It will definitely make you feel good whilst working from home. So the next aspect is this element of managing remote workers and, you know, helping people to thrive. And, you know, this element of virtual teams and all of the different things that they are struggling with at the moment. You know, what we know about virtual teams is that these are the issues and challenges that they are faced with. Virtual teams share less information with each other. And the longer people are working from home, the more isolated people are, the less and less that sharing takes place. So this is a key issue that we need to address when people are working from home. We also know from research that when working from home and working remotely online, people have a harder time to understand information that they are digesting and engaging with, because very often, you know, it's just about reading things, it's about looking at things online. What we're missing is that person-to-person interaction, where actually the information that we are taking in from tone of voice, from body language, and from that whole environment around that piece of communication is simply missing. So how it's delivered is a big part of understanding. Alfred Marabian did some research that has generally stacked up that 7% of communication is actually about words, 55% is how that is delivered, and the rest is down to tone of voice. So it is really important that you are aware of this and that we understand what we can do to help. The other key issue with virtual teams is they give and get delayed feedback. That feedback very often isn't instant or quick. And sometimes that feedback doesn't happen at all. So it is important that you bear in mind the need sometimes to provide that feedback and to give it in a positive, assertive, not assertive, forgive me, a positive and constructive way, sensitive to people's needs, but that actually you make the effort to provide the feedback because somebody simply may not be aware, may not know the impact of what's happening or how they are delivering certain communications. So that feedback aspect is a key issue. And of course, you know, people find it harder to spot non-verbal cues when working remotely, and even on Zoom calls sometimes, you know, we're not necessarily trained to spot those verbal cues, and they are so important in terms of reading signals in the sales process, in that business development discussion. You know, you haven't got those non-verbal cues that are really telling you, well, the person may be saying one thing, but actually when I'm picking up all of these verbal cues, I'm understanding more or better where the customer really is in this process. So quite a few things there that are challenging for us when working from home. And actually, in terms of mitigating all of these, using rich media and doing more online calls where we have that face-to-face really, really helps with that. I think the one caveat with doing online live calls with people is it can get tiring. It can be quite draining. So make sure that you have some space in between them and it's not getting too much such that you are completely overwhelmed. So plan it in carefully. So building cohesion and trust across your team is really, really important. How do we go about doing that? Well, we know that teams where there is trust and cohesion, that they outperform other teams where that is lacking. And we know that where there is trust and cohesion, they share and learn more. We also know that where that trust and cohesion is in place, teams and individuals are more committed and loyal to the business. So what do we do to actually support and nurture that? Well, invest in team building. How can you go about, building up that rapport with the team? And I think the first step there would be actually to just dedicate a session on a fairly regular basis to meeting up with the team to have more social type conversations, to learn more about their context, how they're doing, and share thoughts and ideas, and just have an opportunity to talk and chat when there is no business agenda necessarily there. So that can be a really valuable thing. If any negative or concerning behavior arises, deal with it immediately. Take it, if it is in a sort of group meeting scenario, take it out of the group, but deal with it at once. Be supportive, listen, understand what has caused that negative behavior. You will have your guidelines in terms of the business and how you can best manage that, but do deal with it straight away. Be supportive, be understanding, but at some point in time, you have your ways, you have your values, you have guidelines as to how you want people to communicate, both internally and externally, and that needs to be adhered to. So it may well be that you want to refresh that, you want to have a session on that with the team. You might want to refine those guidelines to beef them up a little bit more if you find that you are having issues. It doesn't actually necessarily even need to be with the team, but of course, if it's with customers or partners or such like, it needs to be done more sensitively. So do hold those debriefing and social sessions. They are really important. I think debriefing sessions about projects and processes, or your web development, or with your marketing agency, or your internal marketing team, is really important. That lessons learned, that sharing of best practice and what worked and what didn't work is really important alongside the social sessions. And do have a focus on skills and training needs, and address that. I would definitely address that in as part of the business development planning as well, and make sure that you are taking care of team. It could be tech training that they need. It could be training about communications. It could be training around coaching, which I will come on to talk about shortly. And finally, this aspect of recognizing extroverts and introverts. You know, some people have no problem if you say, well, oh, by the way, on spec, on the hoof, would you mind getting up and just doing 5 minutes on this particular topic? If that's an extrovert, and I am someone who would respond hopefully quite well to that because I'm well practiced in it, that wouldn't be an issue. It fits more my nature. But if someone is introverted and they like to think about things and they like to plan in advance, they will not respond well. So give extroverts and introverts the opportunity to use their process to come up with the best result for you. So if you think that might be needed in a session, give them advanced warning, allow them to come back with whatever they have prepared. So, top tips in communication: encourage rich media use. Another key aspect is also about synchronizing work schedules, you know, allowing a bit of that flexi time, but making sure they're set up so that the business can operate effectively, but that you also have some consensus amongst the internal or broader team. And do all of the things that we've been talking about to mitigate the effects of physical distance. Now, there's a great thing called collaborative coaching, and you know, it's something. I'm a qualified coach, and I'm actually doing some advanced coaching training at the moment, just to, in this quieter time, to improve my own skills. It's a really good element to think about within your organization in terms of, actually, could we introduce a coaching program for specific individuals? Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's other people, and can we actually hone our coaching skills, which can also be really productive, because you will learn a huge amount about how to listen, how to question, and how to communicate with people that will be incredibly supportive for your business development and your sales teams. So coaching can be a productive aspect to consider at any time, but particularly at the moment. And the qualities and skills you will learn as a good coach is to value each person for what they're able to contribute. Coaching skills will support conversation flow and understanding. It allows you to learn how to deal with... Heloise is saying that she can't hear me. Is anyone else having the same issue? Amanda, can you just let me know whether I can be heard?
I can hear you, Norma.
Yeah. Okay. Heloise, I'm not quite sure what to suggest. It may be that you're perhaps having some bandwidth issues. So
log back out and log back in. That might help.
That might be a final help. It's that switch it off and switch it back on again, see if it works. I do hope you managed to get back in, Heloisa. So coaching skills will allow you to handle discomfort and difficult situations. It could be around giving feedback, for example. So you will learn skills on how to do that well. It helps enormously with listening, and that, you know, we call it 360-degree listening, which is listening with your ears, but looking out for body language, taking in the context, and also cultivating your intuition when you're listening, and listening to what they're not saying as well as to what people are saying. It helps with your position as an observer rather than getting too involved in the subject matter. So keeping that impartiality and objectivity, which supports your assessment of the discussion and situation, but can really support your decision making as well. It will help you clarify drivers and goals amongst team members and colleagues and partners. A coach both encourages and challenges, so helps you to get the best out of people, but also holds them to account and is very realistic about, what's possible and what isn't possible. A coach always wants lasting results from people, so will work with you to help achieve those sustainable goals and changes, and always, always, always encourages possibility. And I think this is a really key aspect of coaching. A coach will believe that everything that anyone needs to deal with a situation they already have within them. It's about potentially finding that and developing that and turning those into well-crafted skills. And last but by no means at all least, a coach will lead by example and practice what they preach. And if at times we fall down and that doesn't work out, then you dust yourself off, you've learnt your lessons, and you get back on the horse and off you go. So it may well be that coaching training could stand you in good stead, help with the team. I do know quite a lot of companies at the moment who are dedicating some time and resource to delivering coaching skills training within their organizations. So it could be something really helpful to you at this point in time. So finally, the 7th tip is all about the tools and technology. And I simply wanted to share some tools and tech that we use, or that clients of ours use, that we found to be particularly productive and particularly useful. So just some ideas, things for you to look at. This is, after all, a series of digital and business growth webinars. So these tools can help you in terms of time and efficiency, but also overwhelm and ease. Once you get these set up and once you understand how to use these tools, they can be extremely valuable. But of course, they can also help with that cooperation and coordination when people are working at remote locations, to actually work on the same documents or resources at the same time. To share and collaborate becomes so much more effective. So you may, as part of your business development activities, want to have a look and a rethink in terms of your tech systems and the tech budget that you have available. Is this a time to invest? Is this a time to upgrade? You may also, with that upgrade, want to consider skills across the team and whether some skills training around the tech would stand you in good stead as well. I'm sure the West Yorkshire Combined Authority will have lots of information available, as do all of the partners that I mentioned at the beginning, in terms of what potential funding and support might be available. I know that UMI also have a lot of that information at hand. So if you wanted information on what support, what potential funding might be available to help you with this, then do reach out, do some research, talk to the partners and assess what might be available. European funding will not be around for that much longer, so make the most of this opportunity if that investment would help your business to grow and succeed. So, get the right tech set up at home. Make sure you've got the right networks, the right broadband provision, and that you are happy, your backups are being taken care of. and that you are comfortable, that you have a good setup. It's also a good opportunity to think about business disaster recovery and what you might do should something untoward happen. That could be in terms of your environment, but it could also be in terms of the tech. So it's good to get some of that planning in place as well. So some of the communications tools you will undoubtedly already be familiar with. We have Skype and Zoom, of course. We also have Teams, but there are many others that you can use. For example, the system that is being used today, Aircast Studio, is really valuable. GoToWebinar. There are lots of different resources out there that all work in very similar ways, have their pros and cons. So work out what tool works best for yourselves, and commit yourself to learning about all of the resources within those tools and how to best set them up and take advantage of them. So some training is really great. There is a lot of training on all of these different tools within the companies that offer these tools themselves. Sometimes you can do webinar sessions with teams, for example, from Zoom. They can take you through some of the fancier facilities that are available, but it's a really good time to upskill and get to grips with these. One of the little widgets or gadgets that I really like using that saves me masses of time is something called TechSmith Capture, and it sits as a little icon in my tray at the bottom of the screen, and it essentially allows me to mark out and cut and paste whatever I see on the screen and paste that to a document or a presentation, for example. It also allows me to take a capture of a video online. So it's a really clever little tool. You will, I am sure, find that very useful. TechSmith Capture. The other tool that I used to use, I don't know, because the calendar function is within my Office 365 suite. So I use that, for example, to allow you to book into my calendar for the one-to-one sessions. Another option for that is Calendly, which works really, really well, a similar tool. It has a free service available. You don't have to go premium straight away. So that's a really great one for just automating that meeting scheduling and saving some precious time. The other tool I have in place, which means I can be completely carefree about backups, is Carbonite. So Carbonite takes backups ongoing of every keystroke that I make on the computer to documents and spreadsheets and various different things, PowerPoints. So they are automatically backed up to the cloud. It's fairly inexpensive, I think. It doesn't cost a great deal. At this time of year, they often come out with deals as well. But having that instant backup is also invaluable. It also means if at any point in time I get separated from my laptop, woe betide, I can walk into any internet cafe and I can access all of my documentation on Carbonite's cloud. Or if I have to borrow someone's laptop because for whatever reason, it means I can access whatever I need to access, and that can be really helpful. The other tool that I love using is LastPass. I think it's one of the best password safes. So you can put all of your passwords there under one master password. It also allows you to take notes and save documents and such like into the safe as well. And it gets a pretty good security rating too. So LastPass is also good. It also has a free function, but you can upgrade to premium if you want to use it across multiple devices. In terms of customer relationship management, we use Capsule. There are many different ones about. Capsule does have a free offer. It manages your sales pipeline and keeps all of your customer information in there. So it is a really good one to look at. An alternative is Sugar CRM. I think they do have a, it's a long time since I used them, but clients do use it and they're happy with it. And I think it does have a simpler free version available as well. The other tool I really love, because I do like my post-it notes for when I'm doing brainstorming or planning out, is a tool called Stormboard, and that allows you on your own or collaboratively with people to actually use post-it notes to brainstorm, and you can use different colors. You can assign actions and responsibilities to the post-it notes. As you can see here, this was a bit of export and business development. You can put them into different areas. The lovely thing about Stormboard, and there are a lot of additional tools in there, when you finish that brainstorming, you can download all of those post-it notes into a document. So it can save you a lot of time having to then go away and type all of that up. So Stormboard's a nice one to check out. Project management and team collaboration, Slack is very popular and works really well. The other one that I do like using is Trello, which can work well, and you can put different backgrounds and colors and fonts and such like on there. And again, you can share the whole of your Trello workspace and collaboration boards, or just one of them, with different team members. So that works really well too. In terms of project management, if you are doing website development, for example, either building a brand new international website or refining your existing one, then your web developers will use tools such as Basecamp. Monday.com is another popular one that works really well. Again, I've got Trello in here again, so you can just see a different screen grab there. So all of these are really productive. The time recording is always a bit of an issue that we need to keep on top of. Toggle have, a tool for planning and a tool for hiring with skills tests, which I haven't particularly looked at because I'm happy with what I have. But the Toggle track, in terms of time tracking and reporting, it sits nicely on your dashboard, and you can either record it manually or you can click Toggle when you start working on something and click it when you've finished, and it produces time reports for you at the end of the day or the end of the week or month. That is a really invaluable tool. So time tracking, a piece of cake. So it's a good resource. And I do love my mind maps, but I don't like paying loads of money for them, and I don't like paying a lot of money to upgrade them when new software upgrades come out. So I use Coggle.it. It is simple, it's straightforward. I don't need anything particularly fancy, but it has some great features in there, and it is free at a basic level. You can again pay for premium if you want to, and you can collaborate as well using that. But Coggle.it I find works really well. There is one in here that I have not mentioned, which is Doodle, and I will write it down now. I keep wanting to add it to the presentation, and every time I've finished, I forget. Doodle helps you, if you're not familiar with it, it helps you to coordinate appointments across teams or bigger audiences. So I think you will find Doodle really invaluable. It just takes the pain out of coordinating a lot of people around a meeting. So you might want to take a quick photograph of that screen. These are the different tools to trial. Do remember to add Doodle to that list there. And that is essentially the end of the presentation. So 7 top tips for business development from home. I hope you found the session on your home-based business development really useful and got lots of inspiration and some creative ideas and thoughts for you to then work on next. Please do now bear in mind we have 2 new webinar sessions coming up for you. We have a LinkedIn How to Win New Business, which is one of these best of the best sessions. So what I am doing is combining both webinars that we have done previously, taking out the best elements and doing a further LinkedIn session, which you or other team members or perhaps people you know could be interested in. Please do pass the word around. It is on the 31st of March from 10 until 12, and you can go to the Go Global website and register for free. That's open to anybody irrespective of where they are located. And then finally, on the 1st of April from 10 until 12, I am doing a complete recap of all of the webinars, which essentially will give you a step-by-step guide to what you need to do to internationalize your marketing and digital resources to win new business. So we're going to go through and do this step by step. So if you've been on some or all of the webinars, and even if you haven't been on any of the other webinars, please do come along. Tell your friends and colleagues about it, because this is going to be the ultimate guide to going from A to Z in terms of really refining and improving your online offer and looking at your business development and sales and getting yourself in the best position possible to actually look at winning new business. And that's going to be a very practical, pragmatic, this is what you need to do step by step. So do come along, 31st of March and the 1st of April. We still have a few 1-hour sessions with me available. I would love to sit down and talk to you about your business development. You will get a free website audit, and I will focus on what you want to focus on. You can book those sessions here. Go global at weareumi.co.uk. These one-to-one sessions are only available to businesses in the Yorkshire and Humber area, but I would love to sit with you. We have another couple of weeks where you can take advantage of this. So please do reach out if you have any questions. I'd be very happy to answer them. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you email to goglobal@weareumi.co.uk, and they will just check very simple eligibility criteria and give you the link so that you're able to book into my diary. It would be an absolute pleasure. I love doing the one-to-one sessions. They are so enjoyable and so productive. Forgive me, the on-demand webinars, if you want to pick up on any that you might have missed, are available on the Go Global website here. So lots for you to think about.